Om Prapannaparijataya Totra Vetraikapaneye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gita Amritaduhe Namaha. Pranams everyone. We are in chapter 4, sloka number 15. Shri Bhagavan evam jñātvā kritam karma pūrvairapi mumukṣubhiḥ kuru karmaiva tasmātvam pūrvaih pūrvataram kritam. So, in this sloka, Bhagavan wants to tell us, qualifies śiṣṭācāras, and he wants to show Arjuna what he needs to do. So, what is śiṣṭācāra? We already saw that in the third chapter. We already went through that in the last class. Basically, these are the mahans or the elders who act as pramanas. They are the third pramanas for us in terms of understanding what is dharma and what is adharma. The first pramana for us is always the Shruti, Vedas. The second one are the Smriti Granthas. Then, because we may not have access to them, because we do not understand them, so we look to the mahans or the elders of the society for them to teach us, or to they will lead their lives in such a way that we understand what is dharma and what is adharma. So Bhagavan says, whatever I had given as advice, Arjuna, there are many people in the past who had got benefited out of it. And there should be no doubt to you, there have been many seekers in the past who have attained the life's goal. What is the life's goals? Moksha, Parama Purushartha. They have been able to attain that by following this advice. So if you go to Sloka, evam jñātvā kritam karma pūrvairapi mumukṣubhiḥ. Jñātvā evam. Jñātvā evam means having known thus. Having known thus, jñātvā evam kritam karma. Karma kritam. Karma kritam means action has been performed. So having known thus, action has been performed. Who has performed these actions? Pūrvaih mumukṣubhiḥ api. Pūrvaih means ancient. Ancient. Mumukshu. Mumukshu are the seekers. Seekers of liberation. Seekers of moksha. So ancient seekers of moksha api is also. So having known thus, actions have been performed by the ancient seekers of liberation also. Now Bhagavan used evam, having known thus. What is thus? What does Bhagavan mean by thus? What has to be known? So what has to be known is whatever has been conveyed by Bhagavan so far. And what did Bhagavan convey in the previous sloka? In the previous sloka, Bhagavan said, actions do not affect me. I have no craving for actions. And people who clearly knows me, they are also not bound by actions. So basically what Bhagavan says is, if anybody comes to know clearly that Bhagavan or Ishvara is separate from the bodies, is he separate, whoever is able to understand the Brahma Tattva and the Maya Tattvam clearly, then that is what Bhagavan says, evam jñātvā, if they come to know of this. And the same tattva is also at the jīvatma level also. For a jiva also, the atma and the anatma are different. Atma is different from the bodies. Atmanaha dehādi bhinnatvam. I am different from the bodies. And not only that I am different from the bodies, I also have to know that dehādi karma kritam mama nasti. These actions of the bodies are not mine. So that knowledge, if somebody is able to get it, and who have been able to get it? Pūrvaih mumukṣubhiḥ. The ancient seekers of liberation, they have been able to get it. And having known this truth, having known this tattva, they have the seekers of liberation, but that did not stop them from doing their actions. That is what Bhagavan says. Kritam karma. These ancient seekers of liberation also, they know this knowledge, they have this knowledge, but still they karma kritam. Action has been performed by them. So just because I know that it's only the body that performs actions, I am not the one who is acting. I cannot stop from performing actions. Or I should let what needs to be done has to be done. So why would the ancient seekers, how can we explain these ancient seekers' actions? We can do it in two ways. One is, if they are seekers of liberation, which means they are performing this as karma yoga, as a step to attain jnana. If they are as doing this as a step to attain jnana, then these actions are performed for the sake of mental purity, for the sake of chitta shuddhi. Suppose if these ancient seekers of liberation, this pūrvaih mumukṣubhiḥ, they have already attained the jnana, then they are doing these actions as a result of prarabdha, because prarabdha is in such a way for them that they have to perform these actions, and therefore they perform these actions not for themselves, not for chitta shuddhi, but for loka sangraha. What is loka sangraha? We already discussed that in chapter 3. So the ancient seekers of liberation, or the pūrvaih mumukṣubhiḥ, they had performed their action even after knowing that it is not them who are doing the actions. It is not the Atma which is doing the actions. It is the bodies which are performing actions. And yet they performed actions because either they were actually doing it for chitta shuddhi, or they were doing it for loka sangraha. So this is what Bhagavan says in the first line. Bhagavan had already advised Arjuna, remember, if you take yourself to be a jnani, then perform these actions as loka sangraha. If you take yourself to be an ajnani, then perform these actions for chitta shuddhi. So Bhagavan is giving a direct advice here in the next line. Kuru karmaiva tasmat pūrvam. Tasmat pūrvaih, tasmatvam pūrvaih pūrvataram kritam. Kuru karmaiva tasmat tvam. Tasmat means therefore. So here Bhagavan gives an advice to Arjuna. Tasmat tvam, you, kuru karma eva. Tasmat, therefore, tvam, you, kuru karma, perform action, eva, only. So Bhagavan says, Arjuna, therefore you perform actions only. You perform action only. So why does Bhagavan say tasmat here? Therefore, why does he say? Because Bhagavan says, because ancient seekers, they did not escape from duties. One cannot escape from duties to get moksha. That is impossible. That is not possible at all. So you have to perform your duties and then attain moksha. So the question comes is, how long should I be performing these actions? Bhagavan had given an indication in the second chapter. If you remember, there are 2 slokas which gives the lingam for a person to say that I have completed karma yoga, and a lingam for a person to say that I have completed jnana yoga. The lingam or the indication for a person to say that I have completed karma yoga is vairagya. Until I am able to remove all the desires, I have to perform action. Some people say that, I want to give up everything and live in an ashram, because these daily things are actually, I'm not able to take it. In an ashram, I will be peaceful. But even if you go, what happens? Even in ashram, our desires will follow us. If you have a desire in the morning that I cannot have a day started without my coffee or tea, then how can we actually how can we give up all duties and responsibilities if we are not able to give up just a coffee or tea? So it's not if you ask them, so do you want moksha? Yeah, they might say, yeah, I want moksha, but along with my coffee or tea. Otherwise, they don't need a moksha. So moksha is not, giving up duties and responsibilities is not easy, should not be done. Reason being, we still have desires or attachment. And the attachment that we have on, that the tongue has over the other things, is very difficult. That is the most difficult one to conquer. The attachment on the taste. One Sampradaya Guru says, Jitam sarve, jitam rase. If the tongue is won over, then all sensory organs can be won over. So we have specific tastes in life. We want certain things only. We do not want certain things. Those are called desires. And if we get affected, if we do not get what we want, or if we get what we don't want, then it is called as attachment. So until the time we are not able to give up our desires, we should not give up our responsibilities also. And even from a responsibility standpoint, our mind is such that we will not give up our favorite responsibilities. There are always, within our duties, there are things that we would like to do, there are duties that we do not like to do. But we do not want to give up on our favorite duties, because we will claim ourselves that if we do not do these things, I will become insignificant. So that will actually push us to keep doing our favorite duties only. But once we get the jnana, we will be able to give up. So the meaning of tasmat here is tasmat tvam kuru karma eva. Bhagavan says to Arjuna, tasmat, therefore, until the desire is in your mind, you perform action only. Now, eva means only. Now, why does Bhagavan say eva? Bhagavan could have said, you do actions. Why does he have to say, you do actions only? Because there is no option. Some people think that they are performing actions for loka sangraha. Especially people who are doing social service. They will say, I am doing social service, social work, I am doing service. No, that's not the real reason. You are not doing it for loka sangraha. The reason why people do that is because their rajoguna is too high. That person cannot sit at home and do japa. That person cannot sit in a place and meditate. That's why they are doing it, not for the sake of others. Is it good or bad to do service? It is good, no doubt. No, I'm not saying that it is bad. It is good because they are doing it because they cannot sit at home. But as long as we are doing good things, it's good. And that service, that social work will help us to convert or move our gunas from rajo to sattva. Here Bhagavan wants to reiterate to Arjuna that, Arjuna, you are not a jnani yet. You need to attain chitta shuddhi. And therefore you must perform actions only. So that is the question. Now how should Arjuna that is why Bhagavan says eva. Now how should Arjuna perform these actions? Bhagavan says pūrvaih pūrvataram kritam. Kritam pūrvataram, which has been done formerly. Pūrvataram means formerly. Kritam, which has been done. Which has been done formerly by who? Pūrvaih. Pūrvaih means the ancients. Again, Bhagavan says, the ancient seekers, they have done this work. They have done actions. In the same manner, you also do the actions. Therefore, you also perform the actions in the same manner as that was done formerly by the ancient people or by your ancestors. So, what is the benefit that Arjuna will get or we will get? We will get Chitta Shuddhi. And after that, what we will get? We will get Jnana. And once we get Jnana, whether we perform duties or not, we will not be affected. But until that time, we will have to do duties. That is the meaning of this particular sloka. Now, in the next two slokas, 16 and 17, Bhagavan is giving a build-up because 18th is the key sloka. Now, because 18th is a key sloka, Bhagavan is actually building up that sloka. So, he is giving some introductory slokas in 16 and 17. Introduction for what? Jnana Karma Sannyasa, the title of this chapter. So, 16 and 17 are introductory slokas, but more a build up for the main sloka 18, which is not just the main shloka for this chapter, but a main shloka for the entire Bhagavad Gita. So we'll go to shloka number 16. Kim karma kimakarmeti kavayopyatra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshyami jñātvā moksha śiṣṭācāra. Kim karma kimakarmeti kavayopyatra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshyami jñātvā moksha śiṣṭācāra. So Bhagavan introduces that knowledge which will give us moksha. And Bhagavan says, Arjuna, I am going to give you some jnana. That jnana is not easy to attain. Bhagavan is introducing thus. So he is saying, I am going to give you a jnana sloka, going to give you a jnana which is in shloka 18. But before that, Bhagavan is saying that knowledge I am going to give is very subtle. It's very difficult to understand. And what does Bhagavan says here in the shloka? Kim karma kimakarmeti kavayopyatra mohitaha. Kim karma, what is action? Kim akarma, what is actionlessness or what is inaction? What is action? What is actionlessness? Iti atra, in this regard. Iti atra means in this regard. Kavayo apyatra mohitaha is there. Iti atra is there. In this regard. So what it means in this regard? In this subject that Bhagavan is going to teach. In this subject that Bhagavan is going to give upadesha. In this subject. Api. Kavayaha. Kavayaha means, api kavayaha means even sages. Kavayaha means sages. Normally kavi means poet. Here kavi means sastra kushalaha, or we can say panditaha. So even sages, what sort of sages? We are talking about one who has studied Vedanta Shastras, one who are intellectual giants, one who are soaked in this knowledge, who have gone through the Vedas, have read through the Upanishads. They have spent so much of effort and time to study these scriptures. Those kind of sages, even those sages, mohitaha, they are deluded, they are confused. So Bhagavan says, what is action, what is actionlessness. In this regard, even the sages, even the intellectual giants are confused, are deluded. So what do we understand from this? Bhagavan wants to convey that this teaching he is going to give is very subtle. Sukshma jnana. So what is action? What is actionlessness? It's very difficult to understand. Even sages can get confused or deluded. Why does this happen? Why does some of the sages get deluded? Because some sages or some people who have understood this, some people think that karma to be, what is karma? What is action? Some people have this definition of action. Action has to be Shruti Smriti Vihita Karma. So actions are defined in Vedas. Those are Shruti karmas. Then there are Smriti, which is Shrauta karma, Smarta karma, Vihita karma. So they have three types of karma. They understand karmas to be three types: Shrauta, Smarta, Vihita. Shrauta karma means actions that have been defined in the or prescribed in the Vedas. Smarta karmas means actions that have been defined in the Smriti Granthas. Vihita karmas means actions that have been prohibited. So that's how they have understood karma, some people. Some people have understood karma to be chalanam. Anything that moves is action. Anything that does not move, achalam, to be akarma. So people have many interpretations of what is action, what is inaction. So these are people who have studied Vedas. They are confused in this manner. If a common man is confused, it is okay. But Bhagavan says even Panditaha are confused. So Bhagavan says, so this is the confusion among the people. And therefore Bhagavan says, I am going to explain to you clearly. So in the second line, Bhagavan says, Tatte karma pravakshyami jñātvā mokṣyase śubhāt. Tat te karma. Tat means therefore. Tasmat. Therefore. What does therefore means? When even sages have been confused, therefore, pravakshyami te. Pravakshyami means teach. I shall teach. I shall teach you. Pravakshyami te. Pravakshyami te. I shall teach you. What will Bhagavan teach? Karma. Action. So that is tatte karma pravakshyami. I shall teach you action. This te karma, there is also, and yes, there is some books that can also be read as tatte akarma pravakshyami. So tatte karma pravakshyami, tatte akarma pravakshyami. I shall teach you action, I shall teach you inaction also. Bhagavan is going to give both teachings. Where is he going to teach? Sloka 18. But he is giving in the introduction here. And that too in Sloka 18, first line alone, he is going to teach. So now Arjuna could think, already Panditas have been confused. Sages are, they are deluded. What is the use of me knowing it? If Bhagavan is going to teach also, I don't know what, I may understand, I may not understand, but even if I understand, what is the use of it? So Bhagavan says, jñātvā mokṣyase śubhāt. Jñātvā, yat jñātvā. Jñātvā. Knowing which. Jñātvā. That is what jñātvā. Yat jñātvā. Knowing which mokṣyase aśubhāt. Knowing which you will be freed. Moksha means freedom, liberation. You will be freed from what? Aśubhāt. Aśubhāt means from evil effect. You will be freed from evil effect. You will be freed from the binding nature. You will be freed from samsara. So Bhagavan says, look, what I am going to give is not useless knowledge. This karma, what is akarma, could be difficult to know. It could confuse a lot of people. But I will give you this knowledge. And by knowing this language, it can give you moksha. It can liberate you. So what is Bhagavan doing? Bhagavan is basically inducing the desire in Arjuna and in us. This jñāsa, this desire for knowledge. So before we land into that sloka, we should be eager to know what he is going to say. And to get Arjuna's attention also. Arjuna, you may be distracted. Please concentrate now, because what I am going to give you is very subtle. It's very difficult to understand. People have got confused, but I am going to give you. And not only by knowing that, you are not going to not only lose anything, but you will gain liberation. And Bhagavan is spending 2 slokas for that. So before giving this knowledge on a deep subject, Bhagavan is actually giving a preface, we can say. That, look, this knowledge is a fantastic subject. This what I'm going to give. These intellectual giants have been confused. You get it, you attain moksha. What is the swarupa of moksha? What is the benefit of this moksha? What is the benefit of this jnana? Bhagavan is going to give that in many slokas, but later. But we will see that now later. Now we'll go into this sloka. Sloka says basically what is action, what is actionlessness or inaction. In this regard, even sages are confused, deluded. I shall teach you. Now we'll go to sloka number 17. Karmano hyapi bodhavyam, bodhavyam cha vikarmanah, akarmanascha bodhavyam, gahana karmano gatihi. Karmano hyapi bodhavyam, bodhavyam cha vikarmanah, akarmanascha bodhavyam, gahana karmano gatihi. So in this sloka, Bhagavan says, whatever I am going to teach is something that is worth knowing. Whatever I am going to teach is worth knowing. It is the same message that as in the last sloka, but Bhagavan gives it differently. Why does he give this? In this world, there are knowledge on so many things. We have knowledge on, if we take the body, anatomy, there is so much. If we go to outer space, there is so much. Rockets, we have so much of knowledge. There is so much of knowledge that is available in this world. AI, whatever, there is so much of knowledge in this world. Which one of it is worth knowing? Bhagavan says, this knowledge is worth knowing. Among all the knowledge, if you want to pick up only one knowledge, it has to be this knowledge. It is this knowledge. Karmano hyapi bodhavyam. Bhagavan says, karmanaha I api. Karmanaha Hi api means prescribed action also. Prescribed action also. Bodhavyam. Bodhavyam means should be known. One must know what are the prescribed actions. It is worth knowing. It is fit to be understood. When Bhagavan says prescribed actions which will give us is worth knowing, means what does he means? Actions that will help us to get moksha. That is worth knowing. Bodhavyam cha vikarmanah. Vikarmanascha, which means prohibited actions also. Actions that have been prohibited by the Shastras, saying that these should not be performed, is called as vikarmana. And vikarmana cha bodhavyam. Even those prohibited actions should be known. See, Bhagavan in the previous sloka had used only 2 words, karma and akarma. Now he is in this word, in this sloka, he is adding another word, vikarma. Vikarma means nishita karma. For example, in Shastras they say suram na pibet. Bhagavan says even those should be known and understood. That to know that we should not perform these actions. Suram na pibet means alcohol should not be drunk. So we should know what is nitya karma, what is naimitya karma, so that we can perform them. We should also know what is nishiddha karma to ensure that we do not perform them. We do not do those actions. We do not perform those actions. The next line Bhagavan says, akarmanascha bodhavyam. See, one, prescribed actions must be known, prohibited actions must be known. Then he says, akarmanascha bodhavyam. Inaction also should be known. Karma should be known, vikarma should be known, akarma should be also known. Now once we hear this, we will think, what is the big deal in it? Karma means action, akarma means inaction. Inaction means what? Somebody keeping quiet, that is inaction. Vikarma means actions that are supposed to be not done. Do not tell lies, do not drink, do not cheat, all those things. Yes, I know all these things. So I know what is a karma, what is akarma, what is vikarma. So what is the big deal? Bhagavan says it is not as easy as you think. Gahana karmano gatihi. Gatihi means the nature. He says for the nature is Gahana. Gahana means subtle, very difficult. It is Durjana. It means it is not easy to understand. Of what? What is the subtle? Karmana. The nature of action is so subtle, is so difficult, it's so deep, it is not easy to know. As typically we see, many people have questions only on karma. People have a lot of questions on karma. For example, whether there is something called prarabdha, whether everything that I face in this life is prarabdha, whether there is something called purushartha, whether there is free will or it's only fate. What about death? Does it come out of prarabdha? If it comes out of prarabdha, whether accident and suicides, whether it is free will or prarabdha, whether moksha can come out of karma, whether if I keep performing actions, what I should be doing, whether will I get moksha or not. If when we say moksha is not under karma, then people say, my mind does not accept it. When we say that, no, karma actions or knowing about actions, this karma tattva, people are not interested in Ātma Tattva. People are more interested in karma tattva. And when we say karma tattva will not give you moksha, only Ātma Tattva will give you moksha. People say, my mind does not accept. I want to know about karma tattva. I want to know how would be previous life, previous birth, what is next birth, how do this body move from this person or Atma moves from one janma to another janma. How do I know whether I meet people in life? Is it because of karma pala or is it accident? Lot of questions. Bhagavan says, Gati karmano gahana. It is very subtle, it is deep, it is not easy to know. Karma theory is difficult to understand. Karma theory we can only explain to a certain extent. What we have to understand is this karma is in Ishvara's network. There are so many networks, Wi-Fi network, the LAN network and all those things. This karma is Ishvara's network. And it is not in our network. So certain questions, some of the questions cannot be answered. Some of the questions cannot be even understood. Some of the results cannot be understood. This is what we have to know about karma. But here Bhagavan is not talking about that karma anyway. In this sloka he is talking about that karma that is going to give moksha, which he is going to talk about in the next sloka. But this is a side discussion. The side discussion for us is Karma is very difficult to understand, very subtle. There are so many, we do not understand even how certain things work in this world. We do not understand some AI works, how a network works, how the rockets fly, how the satellites work. If we do not have the intellect to understand even that, then how can we even understand this complex network of karma? And we cannot say that I will not come to Vedanta Shastra, I will not do Ātma Tattva until I understand what is Karma Tattva. It's not possible. Then we can remain as where we are. Certain things we have to understand, okay, this is how it works. General understanding, and then we have to move on to what is important. So Bhagavan says, prescribed action should be known, prohibited action also should be known, inaction also should be known. For the nature of action is very subtle and it is difficult to understand. Karma tattva bodhavyam, vikarma bodhavyam. What are the actions that are important that we should know? Akarma bodhavyam, what is inaction should also be known. Now in the next sloka, sloka number 18, Bhagavan is not going to talk about vikarma, but Bhagavan is going to talk about karma and akarma. What action and inaction. Action and actionlessness. I don't know what is the right word to use, but inaction or actionlessness, whatever. That Bhagavan is going to discuss. So basically Bhagavan is preparing us and Arjuna for this very important sloka so that we are alert and we understand that sloka properly. So we'll go to sloka number 18. Sloka 18. Karmanyak karmayah pashyet akarmani cha karmayah sabuddhiman manushyeshu sayuktah kritsna karma krit. Karmanyak karmayah pashyet akarmani cha karmayah sabuddhiman manushyeshu sayuktah kritsna karma krit. So the essence of the first line of this sloka is, the essence of it is Ātma nishkriyah is the essence. Nishkriyah means Atma is actionless. And in the second line, Bhagavan gives the benefit of this knowledge. So this jnana karma sannyasa is condensed into one sloka, not even one sloka, into one line. The first line alone is the condensed version of, or the sutra of this particular chapter. The most important sloka within this chapter. One of the most important slokas of the entire Bhagavad Gita. So the first line is, Atma is changeless. Atma abhikaraha. Atma is actionless also. Nishkriyaha. Now, if you actually recollect, Bhagavan had already given this information. Bhagavan in the second chapter had already said that Atma is not involved in action and that Atma does not experience the outcome of the action also. And Bhagavan had given an example for that. He said, if you take the Atma to be killed or if you take the Atma to be the killer, Vautau na vijanitaha, nayam hantina hanyate. He said, Atma is neither killed nor it kills. And then we saw, that is why we saw Atma to be akarta, abhokta. Because it is akarta, it is abhokta. And then in another sloka, Bhagavan said, Najayate mriyate va kadachit. He said, Atma is free from 6 types of modifications. Shad vigara rahita Atma. Asti jayate. We saw the birth, the changing, morphing, metamorphosis, the decay, the death, all these 6 changes, Atma do not undergo. Atma is changeless. Only the body changes. Just like we change the clothes for the physical body, the Atma changes the physical body. Every life it changes the physical body. Bhagavan is giving almost the same concepts here. Now if it has already been given in the 2nd chapter, why should Bhagavan give it again here? That is the question. Shankaracharya says, because it is a difficult subject to understand. This concept of changelessness, akarta, abhokta, it's so difficult to understand, we tend to forget. We fail to remember that vismritiya. It goes out of our memory. What goes out of memory? That Atma is actionless. And now, why? And not only that, because we are in this mithya prapancha, we keep falling into this mithya prasanga where we are constantly distracted. And therefore, Bhagavan repeats the same concept in different ways to make us understand this. Now we'll see the word by word meaning of this first line, and then we will do the vichara. We have already seen the essence. The essence is Atma is actionless. Atma akarta. Now we will see how Bhagavan is giving that. First we will just see the translation of the sloka, then we will do vichara. Karmanyah karmayah pashyet. Akarmanicha akarmayah. Yah pashyet. Yah pashyet. Who sees? Yah pashyet. Who sees? What does he see? Akarma. Karmani. Karmanya akarmayah pashyet. That has to be read as Karmani akarma yah pashyet. Karmani akarma yah pashyet. Yah pashyet akarma karmani. Who sees actionlessness in action? That is the first part meaning. Who sees actionlessness in action? Second part, akarmani cha karma yaha. Saha cha yaha, and who sees, what does he sees? Karma akarmani. He sees action in inaction. So in the first part, who sees actionlessness or who sees inaction in action, and who sees action in action, action in inaction. Bhagavan says, in the second line he says, Sa buddhiman manushyeshu. Sa buddhiman. He is the wise person. He is wise. He is only the wise person. He is the only wise person. Who is the wise person? Who is able to see actionlessness in the action, and who is able to see action in inaction. So he is the wise person. What about others? Others are all fools. Buddhu. He is buddhiman. Others are all buddhu. Among who? Manushyeshu. Among men. Among human beings. Not only that, Bhagavan says, Sa yukta kritsna karma krita. Saha yukta. He is a yogi. He is a brahmanishta. And he is a kritsna karma krita. Kritsna karma krita means who has accomplished everything. He has got everything. He has attained everything that one needs to attain. So that is basically the benefit. Benefit is he has attained everything. This is what the sloka says. I will do vichara. What is Bhagavan? How is Bhagavan's Upadesha in the first line? It seems contradictory. Bhagavan is asking us to do a viparita darshana. Viparita darshana means see actionlessness in action. There is action happening, but I have to see inaction in it. And then there is some inaction, but I will have to see action in it. So if the body is resting, we see inaction, but I have to take in that there is something acting. The wise person is able to see that action in that inaction. Seems contradictory. And why should Bhagavan speak to us in contradictory terms? We'll have to first justify that. Bhagavan has to do that because he does not have a choice otherwise. It is not that he wants to confuse us, or it is not that he wants to give us difficult slokas. Because he uses these contradictory terms, because that is how it can be explained. And that's why we say this Bhagavad Gita should be studied on this, all the Shastras, from a Sampradaya Guru. It has to be listened. Nobody can read and understand. No, there cannot be self-study in this. So let us take this one. So action in and action. Let us take this space. This space. Is there action by the space? Is the space is it in action? The space is not in action. It's not. What about the air? The wind or the air? The air is always in action. Because if there is no air, it will not be breathing. So the air is in action. So we should see, normally we should say there is inaction in this inactive space, and we are able to see action in the active wind. That is how we understand things. That is our knowledge. That is knowledge. Tasmat tad buddhi jnanam. But Bhagavan is asking us to see differently. It seems Bhagavan is giving us some kind of wrong knowledge. Bhagavan says, you see this wind, just for an example. So you see this air, you see inaction there. You see the space, you see action in there. That seems to be the message that Bhagavan wants to convey, at least from our understanding, if we read as it is. So it requires a probing. Shankaracharya had given an elaborate commentary for a few slokas in Bhagavad Gita. One such sloka is this one, so that we are able to understand this. So what we have to do is, we have to take an example. We have to take that example, understand that example thoroughly, clearly understand that example, understand under what circumstances this language of contradiction can be used. Then once we understand that language of contradiction, understand the context, understand the example, then we should apply it on what Bhagavan wants to convey. Only then we will be able to understand the sloka clearly. What we have to do, if I start, it will be halfway through. So we'll take a break here. If there are how we have to understand, what about, we'll go do more vichara on this sloka in the next class. Any questions, discussions, not just on this sloka, but on whatever has been discussed so far in our previous classes? I just want to continue what we did in the last class. Open it up for discussions, open it up for questions, comments, queries. Anybody has got anything? Krishnanji, you had actually put up your hand last week. There was no time. Do you want to bring it up now? Okay. I think we'll close for the day. We'll again meet in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam. Krishan, you wanted to say something?
No, actually, I just forgot what I was not supposed to ask actually. So I'm not able to recollect what I was actually coming to. But here I just wanted to know, you have said that six changeless, right? For the soul. So is formless one of them?
No.
Just the soul has a form?
No. Soul doesn't. We as I said in one of the classes, we don't use the word. Let us not use the word soul. Okay, so Atma is formless. Yes, and formless. We are talking about Shadvikara. Shadvikara means 6 stages of changes. Changes. So there is Asti.
Okay.
That Asti means existence. So when for example, for the human being, the existence starts in the womb of the mother. That is Asti. Then Jayate, birth. So we get born. That is our second change. That is our second stage of change. Then Vardate, we grow. We grow until the age of say 25 or whatever, we grow. Vardate. Then there is Viparinamate. Viparinamate means change. We go through some modifications until the age of 40, 50. We go through some modifications. Then Apakshiyate. Then there is a decay. The body, the eyes get dimmer. We have problems in our physical body. The skin starts to shrink. There is a Apakshiyate, decay. Then finally Vinashyati, death. So these are the 6 stages that are that we go through as bodies. Now Atma does not go through these 6 changes. It is only the physical body which goes through, and anything in this world goes through these 6 stages or parts of it.
Okay. Any living thing, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Guruji.
Anything else from anyone? Okay. Now we'll see again in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.